I haven't really been able to find something that I feel that is pure and is not as fake as other things around. I'm finally feel comfortable with it, and I'm very grateful to Hashem, and I'm grateful that he's being using my son, even though he is Messianic. He still respect Torah. Sometimes it comes his comments for love. I try not to hurt him. I'll tell him, but I'm getting to the point where he's gonna start doing seminary. And I was asking me actually if I will attend, and I say I will attend your wedding because it's your wedding. But honestly, I don't feel comfortable going to those places, regardless of how going to worship to idols worship or temples and stuff like that. It's just because everything that brings back to me for that environment. So I don't know how to address him without offend him, because in the essence I know that he sees the same God, that he took a different path, but he still believes in the covenants, he still believes in what I believe. So I don't know how to approach him in that aspect without hurting his feelings in any time, because he actually was the who brought me back to Hashem, because for years, I will consider myself atheist, very secular, and I raised another little one like that. Now I regret it. I seen some things. Some things that will be helpful for my youngest son, to know. My oldest one is the one that went and he served in the army, and he was Messianic there. But when he was there, he told me that they actually didn't have anybody in the staff that served, as a Messianic, wasn't like an Orthodox.
But he's Christian now?
Yeah, so over there in Georgia, where he was serving, he started gathering, and he turned Christian, and now he came out to me. I don't know how to handle that without hurting my feelings, because it's my oldest son and I really love him, and I know that he has a good heart.
How would you be hurting his feelings? What, he's inviting you to go to church and you don't want to go?
Well, yes, it's that he likes to not to debate, but to talk, and he still shows his, he don't recognize there's just one God and things like that, and everything that I say or I invite him to shul, he say, oh, we don't need to do this because this video is already fulfilled, and stuff. And for Rosh Hashanah, I'm afraid even to invite him, because I'm afraid for him to start talking and then get me in trouble, because if I lose this shul, I have just Chabad. I don't have anything else here. So
I wouldn't push the issue. I'm not for people trying to convert their family members, just because it's such a sensitive relationship, no matter who it is. I've never tried to convert my parents. Now, they're going to ask questions when they see you. Just respond in the kindest way possible, but don't challenge them. I mean, he really shouldn't be challenging you. And that's a principle in Torah. The notion of kivud avayim, of honoring your parents, that's one thing. I mean, I'm not going to try to disagree with my father, even though I think that I know more about religion than he does. But I just don't mention it.
Okay.
And the same goes with politics. It applies the most with your family.
Yes, this is really hard, I see his intentions, and I see how he really wants to.
If he was a Messianic Jew, and ultimately it might as well be a different religion, okay? Because I do believe that we share the same God with Messianic Jews.
Yes.
It is a form of Judaism. No matter how they view Jesus, there's Kabbalistic groups in the Jewish world that view their rebbes just how Christians or Messianic Jews view Jesus. I have a video called Messianics Aren't Heretics. So I made an exception for certain Messianics. Christians, if they're Jewish, and they're traditional Christians or Catholics, and for sure they're idolaters. However, if it's a Messianic Jew who happens to just believe that Yeshua is the Messiah, or even some earthly incarnation of God, how Chabad teaches that a Rebbe is, because Chabad teaches that a Rebbe is the Atzmut and a Guf, the divine essence and bodily form. This is the same thing that many Messianics believe. If you could get him to that point of at least wanting to be Messianic, I would even encourage you to go with him to the Messianic synagogue.
Okay.
Just to have something in common. But to go into a Catholic church or a Christian church, that is idolatry. I mean, because they believe that Torah is not applicable anymore. That is avodah zarah. Idolatry is not a good translation for avodah zarah, which is what idolatry really is in Hebrew. Avodah zarah means foreign worship or strange worship. In other words, the way we worship God is by keeping his commandments. So if someone says that, no, God changed his mind, then they're bringing something new and strange to the table. That is the essence of idolatry. Idolatry is not idolatry in Hebrew. Yes, clearly, if someone worships some statue, that also falls under idolatry. But if you were going to translate the word idolatry into Hebrew, it would be like avodat pesilim, the worship of statues. But that's not what idolatry means in Hebrew. So I don't consider most Messianic Jews idolaters. If you could at least get him to consider Messianic Judaism or get him to listen to Michael Skolback, Tovia Singer. I mean, I tell him to watch some of my stuff, but I don't do that much counter-missionary stuff, apart from debates.
No, I'm saying like I actually when I moved from Miami Beach, and I told you I was like attending their conservative school, and then when I came here, I did my research, and I had three options, which is one conservative, the one that I assist. There is one reform, and there is Chabad, and that's it. Those are the only three ones in here. And I attend the conservative one. But I'll take your advice and kind of let him to, a different.
If he comes to the realization that Torah is true, then he's 90% there. I mean, that's really what we should all unite on. This is why I have no problem uniting with Messianic Jews, because we have Torah in common. It's Torah. It's how you behave. That's ultimately what matters. What you believe is secondary to the Torah. Belief it's such a minimal notion, although so much is built on it today. But in terms of Torah Shebektav, the 5 books of Moses, and even base Mishnaic teachings, belief is secondary. It's what you do.
So it will be like if he's doing like Kabbalah or Zohar and stuff like that.
This is why I don't consider Kabbalists idolaters either, or heretics.
No, what I'm saying, like
I consider them foolish.
But it's optional.
Yeah, right. Correct. Yeah. It's optional. So believing the silly stuff that the New Testament says is also optional. I don't think that in any way gets you not to be a Jew unless you make the statement that the Torah has been nullified. Then we have nothing to talk about. This is why when people say that Muslims have the same gods that Jews have, how can you share the same God when your God demands something else? It might as well be a different God. It is a different God.
Yeah.
Their God says that we change the Torah. It's not the same God. It could have the same name. Eloah could be Allah. Fine. Only because it has the same name doesn't mean it's the same God. This is why I teach that Islam is idolatry. And at least some forms of Messianic Judaism is not idolatry. Just like Kabbalistic Judaism is also not idolatry. You could consider something foolish and not heretical and idolatrous. That's something that people can't balance nowadays. People think just because they happen to disagree with something, they automatically unleash the ad hominem attacks. All these YouTube rabbis, all they know how to say is that you're a kofed, you're apikores. It doesn't work like that in halakha. If there was a Sanhedrin and they're here calling people a kofed, Messianics, with the acronym Akub, Ovdei Kohavim Umazalot, these are things that people are put to death for. So clearly, if they're calling them that, halachically, these people are not that, then that person would be put to death. Because if you accuse someone of something that has a capital punishment attached to it, and it's not true, if you did it out of ignorance or even out of spite, you could possibly be put to death. So this is why I'm not quick to call people names.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. And like I'll say,
So there's someone in the chat that says, why does God have so many different names? I don't know. Ask the Kabbalists.